Welcome to the Machete Podcast. It's me, Vlad, your host. Anyway, I know it's been a minute, been doing skate vlogs, and then those went down because, weather. Anyway, today, we got the vape. We got a drink here, Gotta have that, huh? Not sponsored, by the way. And today we're gonna talk watches. It's something that I do the wrist check every day, but something I really haven't touched upon. And I think I should use this channel to touch upon my wiles and my weird and wacky ways, right? As I cut that path forward and we move forward on this adventure together, right? So anyway, with the wrist check, it is a custom G-Shock GA2100, customized by me with all metal case and bracelet, and I did those indices and I did those hands. Yeah, that's me. What? So what about watches? We wonder. What about watches? Well, I think there's a watch philosophy. Let's just dive right in, shall we? Watch philosophy. That watch philosophy starts with self-worth. Am I worth enough to wear a watch? Now, this might just sound like watch propaganda, and it maybe is, because we'll get to that part of why it's watch propaganda at the end of this video. But self-worth, okay, so in addiction, because I was an addict, right, and with my mental health, right, I've not had very good self-worth. I always thought, oh, I'm just Vlad, and I'm just crazy, and I'm always gonna do drugs. Well, when I became clean and sober, I needed something. I needed something new, right? And I went around with some things, and I tried here and there, but it wasn't anything self-worth, self-value. I didn't mean anything to myself, right? Well, then I found watches, and upon finding watches, I dove into them. There was a mysteriousness about them. There was this mystique around them, this class. There's something I wanted, right? Because who says not wearing a watch? Wearing a watch can't be cool, right? It is cool. It oozes cool. Like James Bond. Think of James, to me, James Bond is the coolest, right? And he wears a watch, he's got the secret agent watch, all the gizmos and gadgets. I want that for me, because I believe I'm a secret agent in this world too. Isn't that just what we are? So, in doing this whole thing, this new self-discovery, this new way of life, right? I witnessed that I wanted to remake myself. I wanted to become something new. I wanted to become something new. So I made myself who I am. And wearing a watch, therefore, made me start dressing differently and wearing differently. Now I had to wash my clothes and make sure that it all matched and stuff, because what secret agent looks like a hodgepodge, huh? None of them. That's who. None of the famous secret agents look like a hodgepodge. And I wasn't going to be hodgepodge together. No, I wasn't. Another point of watches is what they do is in this way of self-expression, right? I can express myself through a watch. When I see another guy wearing a watch, I'm like, okay, so that's like an amulet, like a talisman of who he is, right? Because he picked out that watch to be his faithful, loyal timepiece companion, right? To tell that time and to tell it well, right? It's this timeless culture of self-expression and self-value, right? That tells a story. Think of all those grandfathers back in the World War watch, right? And they came out of the war and then passed that on as a family heirloom. That's what I want. I want to be able to pass these on. And in doing so, I want to pass these stories, these way of life, this thing, this essence that is me onto you. Watches are just so cool, bro. They tell time, and what is time? Except a series of moments, a series of expressionary, tales of ourself, huh? Yes, time is a made-up construct and stuff, but we can still appreciate it. So anyway, back to where I was at. Got clean. One day I was looking at watches. I've been looking at watches for a while, and I recognized that I went through the whole 20s on a watch, right? And I was like, oh, I'm in my 30s now, and I should probably have a watch. Well, I was talking to my dad. Me and my dad haven't had the best relationship, right? A lot of history between us, right? Well, I'm talking to him. Normally we don't have like a conversation about much except how you doing, blah, blah, surface level stuff. I brought up watches to him, right? Brought up watches to him, and I've been looking at watches and stuff. He goes, "Oh yeah," like really like into it, like what about watches? And I was like, "Whoa!" So I told him about watches. He's like, I've been collecting watches for a long time. I was like, "What? What?" So like, it created this bond, like something we could like bond over, like we could have watches together. You know what I mean? And this leads me to the point of my dad bought me my first watch, a G-Shock DW 6900, I think. DW, yes, I believe this, or GW 6900, one of the two. Anyway, big old chunky 90s looking one. Now, that watch led me to a series of watches, which then led me to learning how to modify. Modify watches, yes. So I started building watches, started having this love, this passion for building and tinkering with the little tiny parts and the little stuff and everything else. It was awesome. It was fun. Came a passion. And this passion then bled over to my father, who my father then started building his own custom watches. And he went more of like an old school route and has been messing around with like different patinas and aging them and getting them to look like they've been on secret missions and stuff or whatever he's doing. And it is pretty cool how like we have this back and forth over these watches, and these watches have inspired this creativity and this movement between us. It's just something to behold. It is just so marvelous over little timepiece, little tickers, right? Like, and this is just a story I started having within like 6 months of getting into watches. Like, this is 6 months of watches. Like, imagine what 6 years of watches will do. I'm just keeping that time the whole time, good time, the clean time, the free time. And I've touched on this before, but it became a talking point between us. And us men, us manly men. We don't have much that we can talk about with another man that's not work or sports, right? That actually is meaningful to us. And these little watches give us something to bond over, right? Like we can see another watch guy, we can see his watch, they can see ours, we can talk about them. I mean, you probably click on this video, who knows, because you either saw my face or watches, right? And now we're talking about watches, see? So like they keep time and they're a tool, right? And it's a guy talking about his tool, but it's a tool that measures a man's life, like not the quality of it, but the length of it, right? And like, see where I'm going with this? See what I'm doing? Yeah. So then, what have watches taught me, huh? Well, I have learned a bit of self worth. As talking before, they taught me self worth. Like, I value myself more. Like, in the morning, I know when I'm having a good day because I'll put on a watch, right? And I know when I'm having a bad day because I'll forget to put a watch on. And upon those days, it's like, oh, maybe I should take some self worth and go pick out a nice watch. Give myself 3 minutes, 3 minutes to go pick out a watch to wear, right? Because I'm worth it. I'm worth wearing this jewelry. I'm worth it, And like, if I'm not, I mean, to think otherwise, it's just. It also stresses the importance of self care. I know. We all hate hearing self care from me, right? Probably, or your therapist or whoever. But no, seriously, we need more self care. Like, if you don't care about yourself, who is going to care about yourself, huh? Self value is tied into your self care. We work so much, slave away for ourselves or for other people. We take care of other people, but when do we take care of ourselves? Right? The little things like buying me a watch or modifying a watch just so I have something to value myself. So I can lose myself in the culture of the watches, the reading of the watches, the talking of watches, right? The wearing of watches, the collection of watches. It's part of my self care. And like self care is best. Alright, something else that watches have taught me, right? Is personal investment actually. Because maybe my watches don't keep value for the next 50 years, but they mean something to me, and like that investment into my future and into my time, because now I'm on time, now I know what time it is. Like, besides that, like the monetary investment of it, where like I can pass them on as gifts. Even like there's many of you probably watching who's received a watch as a gift from me, and knowing as it comes from the watch guy Vlad, like it means something, right? That investment that I can do, that personal investment in you. But also, what they do with this personal investment is I decided this love of watches, this finding watches needed I saw a hole in it that I was researching and finding that watches that meant something to me at my price point. So I started tacketandtime.com, a website, and my new business is now an LLC where we sell watches and maybe other manly, gentlemanly like um, accessories down the road. But right now we're specializing in watches because I want to grow this brand, tacketandtime.com, into where I'll rebuild watches, fix watches for people. Right? They send them in, I rebuild them, I send them back out. You charge me a small fee, charge us a fee. Where I sell custom watches like this one because I sold a couple of these units last year, but I didn't have a very big platform, so I want to sell more and get those bad boys to you, huh? Get those bad boys to you, yeah. Um, want to do that? I want to have those affordable watches, not like Walmart like level watches, but not jeweler level watches, like that in between that mid ground where they're better than Walmart brand watches, but you're not paying as much as like top dollar jeweler watches, right? I think that's needed because like I'll do the research, you get it, right? And in this, these watches then have since I started this business, I had to make the website, so they taught me how to build a website, all because of watches, and then had to teach me about business and get an LLC and signing up for other stuff because I want to open up a shop front. I want to have an in-person brick and mortar store where you can come in, try on the watches, have the whole deal. Like this has started in me to pass on to others because if I see value in myself, I can see value in others, right? And that's where it's at, that personal investment. I invest in myself, I invest in you. We together with this dual investment become greater than I am alone, man. And it's just, I don't know, man. Now moving forward, where do I go from here? Well, let me check the time. It's time to inspire. No, really, that's what I want to do. I want to inspire. I want to inspire not only others based on my story. Like, if I can get this hype about recovery and finding watches after recovery, like, I want that to inspire you to tell your story. Because we need to hear it. We need to hear your story. You need to get out there and tell your story. It just has to happen for all of our benefit. Um, without telling your story, man, like how can we actually know you're living? Huh? Also, moving forward, I want this business to grow. I want to have a successful business. I want to move it forward. I want to work for myself. I'm tired of working for others. I'm tired of doing that whole daily grind. And I just want to work for myself. And if I can do that through passing on watches and the experience of watches and whatever else, and just invest in other people and in that make my living inspiring and investing, then that's what I want to do. That is what I want to do. And in doing these things and in inspiring you to and doing my watch business and getting this silly and this pumped about it and stuff, I hope this encourages you and this inspires you to push your dreams, right? Because I got the skateboarding that I do on the side. I do a little bit of model making and painting, but starting a watch business, right? If I can do that and then I can move forward, then what can you do? Sky's the limits, man. So today's episode of the Machete Podcast talked about watches. Give me a little rundown of watches. Let's get your favorite watches in the comments, right? Let's like, subscribe. Let's move this along, right? We need to do more of these, right? About once a week, I should be doing these, huh? Moving forward, how about I make a deal? I will make a video once a week for my growing audience, my watch lovers, my non-watch lovers, the ones that are here for the weird and wacky. All of you here at the Machete Podcast, we thank you. We love you. Stay frosty, fam.